You guys ready to see some action out here on the ramp today? That is what we like to hear. On behalf of the folks over at 96X Fans and Billabong, I'd like to welcome you out here to the Busch Gardens Ramp Jam presented by Mountain Dew. Before we get things started, a couple of quick important things. The first one, this one goes out to all you little ones. The riders you're going to be seeing the show here today, these guys are professional riders. They've been doing this stuff for a very long time. Most of them have been doing this for well over half their lives. So whatever you do, please do not try to go home and duplicate some of the things you see out here today because you might not have the same results. And last, this is extremely important, this is how our show works. The more noise you guys can make out here today, the crazier these six guys are going to ride for you. You see them doing something you like, you got to put those hands together, give them a shout, do whatever it takes, but make some noise and let them know you're enjoying the show. Can you guys handle that for us out here today or what? That is all we ask. In that case, we are ready to roll. We're going to crank those tunes up. Get these guys out here right now and introduce them to you one by one. We're going to start it off on the skateboard side of things. One of two skateboarders we got featured for you out here this weekend. He's one of the rookies, one of the young guns, one of the rising young stars in the world of competitive skateboarding. In only his fourth season as a pro, he's already made quite a name for himself in both vert and mega ramp competitions. His nickname is the Atom Bomb. He's out of Cocoa Beach, Florida. Put your hands together for Adam Taylor. Dropping in right now and sending it over to the world of inline skating. We have a gentleman who is one of the most dominant competition skaters when it comes to his sport. Anytime he steps on a ramp at a major event, it's pretty much a safe bet that he's going to be walking away with a top 3 finish. He happens to be a former X Games bronze medalist and a former Gravity Games gold medalist. He's out of Lansdale, Pennsylvania. Let's hear it for Mark Engelhardt. Rolling in right now and sending you over to the world of freestyle BMX. We have one of the long-time veteran competitors in that sport. He's known for a couple of things. Number one, he's known for the impressive height at which he will do his tricks. Number two, he's known for throwing an insanely difficult variation known as the double tail whip. If you've ever watched the X Games and the New Tour, chances are you've heard of him before. He's out of State College, Pennsylvania. Let's hear it for John Parker. Dropping in right now and rounding out the skateboard side of things, another one of the rising young stars in that sport. He too in only his 4th season as a professional skater. He's known for his smooth style and making the tricks that he does look effortless and easy. You've seen him skating things like vert and mega ramp in the past. One of the featured skaters on the Tony Hawk Boom Boom Huck Jam. He's out of Carlsbad, California. How about a great big Busch Garden style welcome for Elliot Sloan. Dropping in right now and rounding out the inline skating side of things, we have another rider who is extremely dominant in that sport when it comes to competitions, and he made a huge name for himself in 2008 competition-wise. He had actually retired from competitions for several years. He shows up in 2008, no one had seen him in several years, and he takes home the inline world championship vert title that season. He's all the way from Sao Paulo, Brazil. Get loud for Marco DeSanti. Rounding out the roster, we have a rider who made history in 2006 at the X Games by becoming the first ever BMXer to ever successfully land the double flare. He happens to be a 4-time X Games gold medalist, and he's also the current world record holder for the highest air ever on a bike. He's out of East Providence, Rhode Island. Ladies and gentlemen, make some noise for Kevin Robinson. Well, there you go. You got a chance to meet the crew. You know just a little bit about them. So right now, I'm going to cut the boys loose and let them do their thing. And the way we run our show, it's what we call a jam session. Means these guys are just going to get out here and ride. And like I said at the top of the show, they like to hear it loud. So come on, let's pump it up. Make some noise for Adam and the crew. Let them know you're having a good time, because that's how it works. It's a jam session after all. They call this the Ramp Jam, and they hear you guys screaming and yelling out there, putting those hands together. It gets them all pumped up, gets the adrenaline flowing, and when that happens, well, you never know what these guys are liable to do for you out here today. And trust me, they are going to throw down some pretty impressive tricks. They like to start off kind of easy. Well, I say taking it easy. Mark throwing a big 540 into the mix right there. One of the many rotational tricks you're going to see out of all 6 of these guys out here on the ramp. But as I was saying, they like to start off into a bit of a flow here. Take it easy, kind of warm up a little bit, and as the show progresses, the tricks get a little tougher, they get a little crazier, and we have definitely assembled an A-list cast of action sports members for you out here this afternoon, as well as the next weekend, the final weekend, if you will, of the Ramp Jam coming up next weekend. Now, some of you out there, you may be well versed in the world of action action sports, you may watch this stuff fairly regularly on television. But then again, for some of you moms and dads out there, maybe some of you grandparents, this may be your first time ever seeing something like this up close and in person. John Parker's sliding out right there, but managing to hang on. That was a heck of a save there. You guys should give him a round of applause right there. That could have been ridiculously bad. But he ends up somehow, some way saving that one and ends up riding that one out of the seat down to the bottom of the ramp. And that happens from time to time. That's why they wear the pads, throwing that whole safety lecture out there. Just so you know, by the way, the two guys on the bikes, they are wearing knee pads. They're wearing them underneath the jeans right there. The reason they do that, when you have your pads on the outside of your pants there, you'll see these things a little bit later on called bar spins, where John will be in the air. He'll throw the handlebars around a time or two in midair. Now, when you do stuff like that, you have your pads on the outside of your jeans there. Your brake levers and your handlebar ends will have a tendency to get hung up in your knee pads. And, well, when that happens, that's not good because it stops your bars from spinning, and it actually will take you down pretty quick. So anybody out there that's watching this going, hey, those guys aren't doing that with knee pads. They are wearing them. They're just underneath the pads right there. So, or underneath the pants, I should say. As I was saying earlier, some of you moms and dads, some of you grandparents out there, this may be your first time ever seeing something like this up close and in person. So that's part of my job out here. I get to sort of guide you through your whole action sports experience. Things are going to be happening pretty quickly on the ramp here. You're going to see lots of subtle little things going on, and if you blink, you might miss something. So I try to point these things out and let you know the differences between some of the things that are happening. Well, that takes no explanation. It's a backflip 180. Come on, somebody scream for that. There's another big trick. That's called a 540. You saw it on the inline skates. It looks a little bit crazier when you've got 35 pounds of metal underneath your feet to contend with right there. The first one, the backflip 180, you saw it, Kevin. They call that a flare. Now, many, many years ago, you could do what we call a backflip fakie, which was just straight up, straight down, and you could pull that off, but it was really hard to land that because you're coming in blindsided. You can't spot your landing. It was really easy to dump the bike over and hit the back of your head. So right around 1991 or 1992 or so, a fellow by the name of Matt Hoffman, a BMX pioneer and legend, he took the backflip a step further, and he threw that 180-degree turn into it, and that way you could take off forwards and you could land forwards. Now, it looked a lot different back in 1992. Kevin and John, they're a couple of the guys that have kind of helped pioneer the whole barrel roll style that you saw Kevin do right there. It makes it a little bit more manageable, a little bit more easier to swing that thing around. And not only will you see many flares out of Kevin here, you'll even see flare variations. And what I mean by a variation, who knows, maybe he'll take his hands off the bars while he's upside down. But that's the kind of stuff that if you want to see, you got to keep that noise level going out there. Now with John, watch out for parts of the bike that'll spin. I talked about the bar spins a little bit earlier. You'll see those where he spins the handlebars around, and you'll see lots of those. They're called tail whips. Everybody seems to enjoy those. Now what happens there? That one's always a crowd pleaser. What's going on in the tail whip? He's up in the air, and the frame of the bike actually does a 360, but the body and the handlebars do not move. Now, if you remember in John's intro, I said that he was known for throwing a trick known as the double tail whip. Now, what that involves, it's pretty wild. You're up in the air, and you actually make the frame of the bike do 2 complete revolutions. It's a very, very difficult move. Generally, the kind of thing that these guys will save for competitions, but like I said, that's one of the things that John is known for. Marco here, he's known for lots of backflip variations, and these things called flat spins. Now, the flat spins are kind of unique to inline skating. It's more of a horizontal rotation as compared to what you're going to see out of the two guys on the skateboards or the two BMXers. What you just saw right there on a Marco, that's the double flat spin. That was 2 horizontal rotations, and there you go. I told you about a no-handed flare. There it was. You got to be crazy enough as it is to do a backflip 180, but then take your hands off while they're upside down, and a 540 variation right there. That's called the switch hand 540. I don't know if you caught it, but in midair, he wasn't fumbling for the grips right there. He meant to do that. You take your hands off the bars, and in this case, Kevin taking the left hand off and putting it on the right side of the handlebars while the other hand drifts off to the side. He meant to do that. It was intentional. It's called a switch hand in the world of freestyle BMX, and that's actually 2 tricks in one. And if we were in a contest, well, you get big, big points from the judges for that kind of stuff. We'll turn it over to Mark here on the inline skates. He likes the spin tricks. We have yet to see a 900 out of the inline, boys. What do you think? Anybody up for a 900 out here today? What do you think about that? Oh, look out, Mark! Trying to throw the double flat spin. Now, that double flat spin, there's only 4 or 5 guys in the world that can actually do that on a pair of inline skates, and you've got 2 of them right here on the deck. And there you go, the flat spin 900. Again, 2 tricks in And then you've got the flat spin, throwing that horizontal axis, that horizontal rotation, if you will, into the mix. So Mark giving you an attempt at the double flat. Kind of made that one for the most part, but there you go with the flat 9. Oh, John Parker. Now, he just did the flare. Kevin did it earlier, but what was different about that, John did what's called an opposite flare. These guys all favor one direction that they turn when they're up in the air. In this case for John, it's turning to the right. Now, when he did that flare, he was going left. And the best way to try to describe that to you, the best analogy I could come up with, would be if you were a baseball player and you were right-handed and you played the position of pitcher, it'd be like trying to throw a 90-mile-an-hour strike or fastball into the strike zone with your left hand. So that's how BMX has progressed these days. Guys are learning to do tricks in both directions. You pretty much grow up learning how to ride one way, and then someone says, hey, try doing tricks the opposite direction. And when you do stuff like that at contests, well, you get big, big points with the judges at those major events. Who wants that double flat spin? You see two of them trying. Are we going to get it this time? There you go. Two complete horizontal rotations, much to the delight of the train driver back there, who's all about the backflips. He's honking that horn for Marco here, and we get the old 360, the big twist invert, if you will, right there. How about it, everybody? Make some noise for Marco DeSanti. He got a round of applause and a train whistle for that one there. The old double flat spin and the double backflip. That's what Marco's known for in the inline world. He's all about those backflip variations. Check out Kevin Robinson right here. This is a wild one. It's a 540, but it's what they call an alley-oop 540, drifting the opposite direction that you're actually turning. Give him a big hand for that. That's a scary one. Well, we're going to change this up a little bit. We've seen these guys take some individual runs. We've seen some technical tricks. Let's push them a little bit. Anybody care to see how high we can get these boys to go in here today? You guys like that idea? I think we can make that one work for you. We're going to have a little Busch Gardens Ramp Jam high air competition right here. If you guys look on either side of the deck, we have those PVC poles there. Those things are the official high air markers. Each one of those poles stands at 10 feet tall. So what we're going to do, we're going to get each one of these riders in the ramp one at a time here. We're going to give them one shot at trying to top out over 10 feet. You guys are going to be our judges. You're going to determine our winner out here. Now, there's no prize money on the line, but if this was a major contest with a higher event, basically how they judge this, it's by the lowest part of the equipment that you're on when you're in the air. So lowest part of the bike, lowest part of the board, or the lowest part of the blade. So you guys need to pay close attention. You're going to pick our winner. Each one of them going to get one shot at this. We're going to start it off with one of our rookie young gun skateboarders. So come on, Busch Gardens, let's make some noise for Adam Taylor. Are we going to get a 10-footer to start it off with here? He's been hanging around the 8 to 9 foot range. He's up there over the railings. That's 8 feet. Come on, I don't hear any encouragement out there. There you go. See how he throws his legs back behind him right there? Like I said, lowest part of the equipment. He got that board up there. The bottom edge of that was right around 9 feet, so he sets the bar right there with a 9-foot air to kick off this portion of the show. We'll turn it over to Mark here. Mark's been hanging out around 10 or 11 feet the last couple of days. Are we going to get higher than 10 feet? Let's make some noise for Mr. Engelhart. I don't know about you guys, but I think that one was right around 10. He says, I only need 2 walls for this. I'll throw a 10-footer right into the mix. We'll turn it over to John right now. Now, if you weren't here yesterday, John threw out a couple of 12-footers yesterday afternoon, and he also did an 11-footer our first show of the day. Will we get 10-plus feet? It all depends on you guys. Pump up the volume out there. Now, what's so ridiculous about John, watch the way that he re-enters the ramp. Oh, my goodness. He comes in at a nosedive. You watch how Kevin does his airs and the other guys on the boards as well as the inline guys. John's coming in at a straight nosedive. That one could have been right around 12 feet. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. What do you think? We're going to get one of our skateboarders to hang tough in this part? We'll turn it over to Elliot here. What do you guys think? Elliot Sloan got a 10-footer in the books? Going for a big method air. He's up there right around 10. However, I think Johnny's got him here by about a foot and a half. I'm calling that last one maybe 11 and a half, possibly 12. Who knows? But it's all down to Marco and Kevin. Now, you can't count Marco out because Marco actually tied John yesterday with a 12-footer in our second show. So where's my inline fans at out there? Come on, Marco DeSanti. Second wall in. He's got a 12-footer. This one's going to be huge. Maybe not. It's all about the good setup here. You got to get a really good pump. You want to land as close to the top of this thing as you possibly can to get it together. And that might have done it. I don't know. I'm going to leave it up to you guys out there in the audience, but make some noise for Marco DeSanti. I didn't think he was going to get it. He had that miss pump there on that third wall in, but he got up there right around 12 feet. Hey, remember the intros? I said this guy holds the world those two guys on the opposite side of the ramp, but I said I'm going to leave it up to you guys. By round of applause, how many people think it's Marco DeSanti over there in the inline skates? Let me hear you. Ooh, you're getting a lot of fans over here in the VIP section. How many people, by round of applause, think it was John Parker over there? I was pretty close. I think we're going to try this one more time. On the count of three, Marco on the blades. 1, 2, 3. And Mr. Parker on the bike. I think Marco edged him out just a little bit right there. How about it? Let's hear it for all 6 of these guys. It is really, really hard to go that high and land it. It's scary business. You're basically 3 stories up in the air when you do something like that. Well, we've seen some individual runs. We just saw how high we could push them. Let's change it up even further. Let's get really crazy out here today. What do you guys think about this? How about a doubles run? You want to get a couple of these guys on the ramp here together at the same time? I don't know. I don't think they're ready for doubles out here. We're going to get a couple of the guys in the ramp together at the same time. So I'll ask this one more time. Are you ready for a doubles run? That's more like it. Now, let me tell you a little story here. This ramp's only 30 feet wide. Works out pretty good for a show, but normally when these guys go to contests and whatnot, they're used to riding something anywhere in the neighborhood of 60 to 100 feet in width. So it's kind of tough when you're in there in a 30-foot wide ramp, but then you add another athlete into the mix and you run out of room pretty quick. So timing is of the essence in this part of the show. We're going to get a couple of these guys in here together at the same time. They're going to do a train. They're going to do some side-by-side tricks, and then we're going to get a couple of them to cross over one another in midair. We're going to have several of them in the ramp together at the same time. So right now, we need you guys to make it twice as loud. So come on, let's get that noise level going out there. It's going to start off with Kevin, Adam, and Mark. Like I said, they're going to run the train right here. Only 30 feet in width of ramp to work with here. Each one of the panels on this thing, 5 feet in width. So those guys are going to pop out. We're going to turn it over to John, Elliot, and Marco. It's kind of quiet out there. What's going on, Busch Gardens? It just gets crazier and crazier from here on out. So John and Elliot jumping out. You guys ready for a crossover? I promised you a couple of flybys. Well, here we go. Here's going to be the first one right here. We got Marco launching what they call the rocket air. Up and over Kevin Robinson right there. The rocket air, you take the legs, you stretch them straight out in front of you in mid-flight. And Kevin going over the top that time around. Not too bad. What do you guys think of that? Well, if you like the crossovers, we're not done yet. We got a couple more of them for you here. We're going to get Kevin and Marco out of the ramp. We've got Parker and Elliot into the ramp. Another high-speed flyby there. Come on, these guys are doing their part. Let's hear it out there. They got a pretty crazy one. They do some side-by-side variations, couple of big setups, and Elliot's going to loft a nice front side air. They got pretty close on that one. About 2 feet to spare in between them right there. Watch Elliot right here. They call that a 360 varial. Not too shabby. Come on, put those hands together. We're not done yet. We've got another crossover for you here. How about a backflip crossover? You guys ready for that one? We're turning back over to Marco and Kevin for this. It's the backflip crossover. Oh, double! You got Kevin doing the flare up and over Marco's backflip. What do you guys think? You guys enjoy that? You like the doubles? You like the crossover? Well, how about this? We saw 2 of them crossing over one another. How about a triple stack? You want to get 3 of these guys crossing over in mid-flight? I think we can make that one happen for you. Now, here's the deal. These guys do shows all over the world. They're well-versed in this. Doubles runs, pretty common. It's scary once you get the timing down, but what happens is once you cross over one another, you're going opposite directions. So after you pass over one another, you're good to go because you know you're not going to run into each other when you land. Now, what makes it extra scary with triples, not too many shows out there will actually do a triple stack. I talked about timing with the doubles. Well, it holds even more true for the triple stack. Now, with the triple stack, when you've got guys crossing over one another, that means 2 of them are actually going the same direction. So it adds a whole new level of insanity into the mix. Speaking of insanity, give it up for Kevin Robinson with back-to-back-to-back flares. Here's the deal, everybody. It's triple stack time. We're going to get these guys in the ramp, couple of setup airs, and then it's going to be a 3-man crossover. When you see them drop in, we need everybody. And I do mean everybody to make as much noise as you possibly can, and don't stop till after they pull this one off. Here we go. Don't blink or you're going to miss it. Look at this. The triple stack. Mark going through the middle. Parker taking it over the top. And Elliot with the grind on the bottom. That wraps it up for us. Ladies and gentlemen, one last time. Put your hands together for Adam Taylor, Mark Eaglehart, John Parker, Elliot Sloan, Marco DeSanti, and Kevin Robinson. The Busch Gardens Ramp Jam crew. We thank you guys for coming out. You guys have been awesome. Give yourselves a big round of applause. We sincerely appreciate all of your support out here. We have one more show this afternoon. We are back up at 5 o'clock, and that'll cap off the Action Sports edition of weekend number 2 of